Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the No Mustard Podcast. This podcast is brought to you from the purchase of my magazines at art by viewers like you. You can learn more about my work or join the Fast Food Legend mailing list by visiting fastfoodlegend.com. I'd like to introduce my guest this week, Matthew Gaston, a botanist, educator, and plant expert with a gift for making science feel lively, accessible, and entertaining. Alongside his work as the director of education at Zilker Botanical Garden in Austin, Texas, he's built a YouTube channel where he shares plant knowledge with curiosity, humor, and real depth. Welcome, Matthew. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, I don't know anything at all about botany. I rarely go outside, and I'm not very good with plants. So, I thought you could help solve some mysteries of the universe for me and my viewers.
Certainly, yeah, I'd be delighted to.
Let's start with this topiary here. This is a cow outside of a Chick-fil-A. Can you see it?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Look at that. Okay.
Tell me all about it.
So this topiary is fascinating. It's a big cow and a small cow outside of Chick-fil-A. The thing that's so unusual about it is that it looks like it is filled with like dead plants already. It looks like the thing that's in here is not alive. There might be some, plants that have been attached into it, but it's like a frame. It looks like there's a wire frame, and they filled it with some type of sphagnum moss or some type of, dead grass. Um, I mean, the legs of the cow were really the only point in which the plant could connect to the soil, and so this would have even either taken like 10 years to perfectly create with a real hedge, or it's just a quick, fast throw a frame and fill it with dead plants. I don't know. It's charming at first sight, but I don't know. Upon inspection, I lose my fascination pretty quickly.
How is something like that even created?
So, like topiaries themselves are historically, displays of resources and the ability to have space and hire people to maintain and spend time, shaping plants when, they don't need to be working on food or production of other things. This particular one is like probably a mass produced wire frame that is like pegged into the ground and just filled with like grass or straw or, even peat moss, could be sphagnum moss. Yeah, if I saw this, I'd want to take a photo next to it, and I would be disappointed, but delighted.
Do you have like a topiary trophy collection of photos?
No, so I personally don't actually like topiaries that much. I think the only appeal for me in this is that it is so jarring. But yeah, topiaries themselves, I don't really like that much. And to typically when I appreciate plants that have a good natural form. I like to see plants the way that they would grow in nature. So I don't like plants when they have unnatural hues and colors. There's like mutations people breed, like variegation. I don't really like variegation. Bonsai is one of the few exceptions in which I really appreciate a plant that has been pruned and manipulated into drastic forms because it represents like an artistic eye and a strategic understanding of horticulture to create this living statue. This particular topiary is it's the opposite of bonsai. Bonsai would take like 50 to 100 years to create a beautiful specimen, and this is a black wire frame someone has bent. Yeah, very you could do this in half a day.
So, on that note, because you dislike the manipulation of the plants, but you do appreciate the manipulation of a bonsai, are you pro or con ikebana?
Ikebana, the Japanese flower arranging. I I appreciate Ikebana the more I spend time with it. When I was at Zilker, there were like 27 garden clubs, and there was a bonsai club and a cactus club and an Ikebana club. And I would always see their products at the end of their class. And I really appreciated kind of the way that they used non-living materials, I think, really is the structural component. One of the big things I like about plants themselves are their very stark structural natural forms. And so within Ikebana, like uses of branches accented with the actual plant material, living plant material, I do appreciate. The thing for me is that all plants are ephemeral. It's just a matter of the scale. And so Ikebana itself is, you might enjoy it for a week or 2 days or 1 hour if you're passing by at a restaurant. Um, and so I think I have a hard time personally grappling with the ephemeral nature of Ikebana because I want to appreciate it for longer. And you could use completely dry arrangement, and at that point it loses its intrigue because it's almost perpetual. So I would not be dissatisfied with Ikebana. Actually, it's quite pleasant, and when done beautifully, it can really stir the mind and heart. But I don't cry when I see Ikebana. I do cry when I see bonsai. Actually, almost every time I go to a bonsai exhibit, I cry because I think about the generations of people that have stewarded this plant. In Oakland, there's a little bonsai exhibit here, very small but very impressive, and they have trees that were brought from Japan, and the legacy of the plant material itself is it's an art piece, and it's a specimen. Like someone's teacher will then pass away and say, "Okay, I'm giving you my bur oak or my pine bonsai," and so then they'll have it, and then they'll have it for 50 years, and then donate to a club. And so there was one tree I saw that was from like 1860,
Wow.
and it's an oak tree that was about as tall as I am in a small, shallow dish. Really impressive, but
Wow.
it stirs me, and this cow does not. I don't
Okay.
I don't cry when I see this topiary.
Okay. Let's have a look at another setup here. This is a Burger King somewhere. What is this patch of whatever this is even called?
This is like a hellscape. It dastardly disgusting. There's mulch, so it's probably like a dyed bark. So one, there's a plant that has been killed and shredded, and then coated in some kind of ink. It probably, I mean, and then there's grasses that have been mutilated, and not in like a pretty way. These little tufts of gray or brown, that's grass, like a bunch grass. And then there's little, let me see if I can get close to see this tiny little magenta or like burgundy, purple, red plants. I don't know. This is really unsettling. And that's what most of suburban America looks like. It's this destruction of natural forms. And
Explain this to me. I don't mean to interrupt you, but explain it to me just a little
yeah,
bit on more basic terms. Because again, truly myself, and I believe most of the viewers don't really know much, if anything, about plants. Why wouldn't this just be parking lot? Like, what is the purpose of whatever this space is?
so there could be a bunch of reasons. One is it could be like a legal requirement for water retention or water capture. They Wherever this is, they probably, I mean, based on what it looks like, they probably don't have very good environmental regulations. But there could be some law related to surface, like exposed permeable surface. So if it was completely paved over, that wouldn't count unless you use a permeable concrete or material. But maybe they're like, oh, this is the area where water can get back into our soil or watershed. Maybe an intention was to have this as an outdoor seating area, and maybe it was at one point. Sitting outdoors in this particular landscape doesn't inspire me much, but it could have been a playground that they had to remove, and then they just had to fill it. So it looks like they got two plants, and then they filled them without any real design. The thing is that there's so much negative space. There's so much open, exposed area. At this point, it would probably be better as a parking lot. I mean,
So this is
because at least
we
I'm
would not call this a garden.
no. I mean, I wouldn't, but a garden is just a yard. So
Okay.
with plants in it. I wouldn't know.
Let's have a look somewhere else here. This is also a Burger King. This grass, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's alive. And then there are some other plants here. What's going on?
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, this particular botanical assortment is what I see throughout suburban America. The fascination with the turf grass, the yard, this lawn that is one of the thirstiest crops we grow in the United States, more
Oh,
than like food we eat. It's wasteful. It reminds us of the English and French gardens in the way that we can utilize space with frivolous nature. But I this is what I grew up seeing every day, and it was like, oh, this is normal. And then I was like, hold on, like I love plants. Where are the plants? And there's not any plants. I mean, there's like looks like boxwood next to the Burger King. These like hedges which are partially dead. And boxwood is a beautiful hedge, but in most of North America, it has a hard time because there's pests and it's not really super native. So there's always native alternatives. This giant empty lawn, I don't feel claustrophobic, but it's just as
it's
unpleasant as
it's
pavement.
not completely empty because there is an ad there for frozen drink.
Yeah, there is an ad there
They could put more ads there and fill in the lawn.
and that would distract me from the emptiness of the space. The the ad itself, I don't think remedies this for me.
Okay.
It does add color though, which is pleasant. And maybe that was their point. Maybe they wanted a big lawn for advertisements, or so that you could approach this majestic Burger King, slowly in your vehicle. As you drive through, you see this grass. The grass is mostly alive. I mean, it's kind of dead on the edges, but it's probably better dead overall.
What is the point of putting grass there? It's definitely not going to have been a previous play place or a dining area. That I'm sure of in this particular version of the Burger King building. So why do they put these patches of grass here?
Well, one is that it's kind of a like maybe a cultural expectation of that area. There might be so much land that you might as well put it there. It shows off that this Burger King is taking care of itself. I saw a video the other day about someone saying, "Oh, God gave us this land, and so we have to be stewards of it." And that approach was we have to take care of our grass and make it beautiful and green. And I know so many people who spend, one day every week, like clockwork, right after church or on Sunday, taking care of their lawn and watering it and fertilizing it and spraying it. And it's just how green your lawn is a symbol of how good you are at maintaining something and how righteous you are. And so perhaps that's kind of a cultural touchstone within this community is the Burger King is one of us, and they also have a lawn that's green and inviting in I mean I'm not invited, but to some people it might.
Let's see what else we have here. I believe this is the next one. That's no, this one. Here we have a Chick-fil-A. And tell me about these plants.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can zoom in on these. But these kind of so the thing that happens is there are often nurseries that will mass produce certain species of plants, and they kind of do well generally across North America. Oh yeah. Okay. It's some matter of evergreen shrub that's been kind of cut into a little pillar. This this landscape is, I think, some people will describe as like socially or spiritually deprived. Like
Oh,
it's yeah. There was a crime pays but botany doesn't. He's also a botanist who does different media on the internet. He's used that phrase to describe situations like this, and I heavily agree. I mean, someone is so out of touch with the environment and the world that they will put these plants. I mean, they're like columns. They're kind of flanking. They're not treated as living things, really. I mean, they're treated as ornament that they have to spend extra time on. They kind of match the windows and the umbrellas here. They they seem very formal, and maybe they wanted some kind of formal garden. That Another thing is it's along a roadway, and so like along the roadways, when you have plants, you often want them to be low so that you can see what's going on the other side. But that's specifically for cars. Here, they could use these plants as a barrier, like some oasis or respite if you're sitting on this patio. But now you still see the cars, and you have this little green sphere next to you. Um,
Being that this is in the drive-through lane, I'd assume that the exhaust from the cars damages the plants. Is that right?
Yeah, some plants are able to tolerate pollutants pretty notably, and others not so much. A lot of our street trees, like London plane, Platanus is the genus, they are known for tolerating, car pollution and petroleum pollution pretty well. And so that's why they became a pretty significant street tree across North America. This particular plant probably does well with exhaust. And the cars are constantly idling there, which is a good point. Yeah. Sitting there, oh my God, I wouldn't imagine how it would smell. But yeah, I think with this landscape, they could have done so much more, put ground covers, at least annual flowers. I mean, that's in and of itself is kind of wasteful, but at least it inspires some intention. Oh,
Here we have a similar kind of plant, but it's a little bit taller, and there's a different kind of plant in between each one. And this is at a subway. Tell me about this.
okay. Yeah, this is pretty similar. They've definitely gone for a formal garden design with good symmetry. So within landscape design, you want balance within your landscape, and so from this particular perspective, it's pretty well balanced, and you can have asymmetrical or perfectly symmetrical balance, and they've gone with symmetrical balance, which can be a problem if one of the plants dies and you immediately lose the balance. So I prefer asymmetrical balance so that if something goes wrong, I can throw in another plant into the landscape and it won't look like something died. So in 5 years, if two of the plants die, it's going to look really, I would say cheap. I mean, it still looks like a simulacrum of something nice because it's next to a subway and there's so much pavement. They also, I mean, I do appreciate they at least tried with this like rock on one side and this like dead turf grass on the other side of that planter bed. These kind of oblong bushes
That may be the
give some fair.
property line. It may be the property line
Oh, yeah.
because this is
Okay,
taken
well,
from a bank or something.
interesting. Okay. I mean, this is better than everything else we've seen. And
Okay.
so when comparing these things, this feels much better, but it's still so empty. And yeah.
Let's have a look at this one and see what we have here. This is a Popeyes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Tell me about this because there's a lot going on here in comparison to the other restaurants we've looked at.
Hmm. Well, the Popeyes is like Louisiana style kitchen, which, always evokes the idea of a humid subtropical environment. And so this particular photo, I mean, could very well be from Florida or somewhere along the Gulf because of the palm trees, these like cabbage palms. There's like two palms in the frame, one on the very far right. I I mean, a lot of the bushes are kind of nondescript and dead and seem very uniform. At least the palm tree breaks breaks the monotony. And maybe in this particular landscape, palm trees are used all over the place and it's boring. But if there were two palm trees flanking that little sidewalk that walks up to Popeyes, I would feel uncomfortable because it feels like they tried to create a formal garden again. And so because there's only one, it's like, okay, maybe they're going for more naturalistic. Maybe these bushes are actually native to this area, but they just cut them low for visibility. And that one palm tree makes me feel like, okay, maybe we're actually next to a wetland or something.
This is a Taco Bell. And again, this is a whole scene taking place here. compared to some of the other buildings we've looked at. Tell me about what you see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, this type of landscape as a whole is kind of, I think, the the painful thing about suburban America, and I personally don't like it. But at least there's more plants and greenery. So my eye felt, and my body felt some relief seeing this compared to the disgusting Burger King previously. Also, I like Taco Bell slightly more than Burger King. I can't eat burgers, but these little burritos are good. The palm trees evoke some nice, warm, tropical environment, and there's like a boulevard in the very back, so there's these like street trees lining. It's like, okay, there's greenery around. I see there's some palm trees, like columns, pillars of some, to me, palm trees are very much like you use them like you would in a Greek temple. You plant them as a formal kind of thing, or you put them very haphazardly, and so it looks like they're pretty intentional. They don't give you any shade, but from far away they give a big effect. These little hedges in the front, I always see this particular type of style with like grass and then a small hedge in like a warm tropical area. Like in Hawaii, this was pretty common in the suburban areas. And so my connection with those environments makes me feel like, oh, okay, I'm in a place on vacation with my family, um, and this Taco Bell is putting in some effort, but it's still like one, two, three, four species, five species. It's not it's not full of life. This is all like plastic,
This was, by the way, you assessed that very well. This one was in Orlando, Florida.
Nice.
I know you don't probably know who this is, but I had one of the creators of Healthy Junk Food on the show recently, and I was
Mm,
looking for some of the locations they had filmed in towards the end of their run, and this was one of the last ones. And
wow.
I caught the landscaping. I knew I'd use it for this episode, but yes, that's Orlando.
Cool.
Okay, what do we have here? This is another Popeyes somewhere.
Wow, look at that. Okay. This I I find this really interesting because there's tons of parking lot and there's tons of concrete, and then there's this little patch of liberation. Like there's even if all the plants here are wild or even invasive, at least there's something that's finding its way out of the kind of humdrum of the control. And so, let me see. I'm going to make my screen bigger to see if I can see these better.
Okay.
There's, I don't know, probably like some invasive plant in the sunflower family or some type of, this is mostly probably weeds, but seeing this could evoke a feeling of like, hey, these people don't have the time to care about the environment around them. But in a way, I like this much more because also the sign is broken. Wait, is this place completely defunct?
I couldn't figure out if there had been a hurricane or if a customer had punched the sign. I could not determine that, but I did research it a little bit.
Okay. Well,
Generally on Fast Food Legend, when we see damage, we look for assault because any kind of fast food related assault I can then use as part of the true crime series of Fast Food Legend magazine. And that
mm,
interests me much more than just physical damage. Although we are working right now on a story about a woman in Kentucky who smashed the windows of a Little Caesars and was not located until she was arrested for domestic violence 7 months later.
interesting. Okay. Maybe that's what this is. I mean, the various advertisements, very askew in this little patch of plant material is definitely adding to the kind of haphazard nature of it. But this is much more interesting to me because there's probably like 30 different species here. If you look at this and you got your little magnifying glass out, you could probably see there's like mosses and grasses and sunflowers and little plantagos or something, clovers. Who knows? This is much better than the two species at the Taco Bell or whatever we saw. Two
There's
species at Burger King.
there's probably some French fries in there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's potatoes a plant, right?
Yeah.
So that would be another
Potatoes,
species, correct?
I yeah, I would once it's fried, I would classify it as non-living, but yeah.
Here we have another Burger King, and this one is very different than the ones we've seen before.
Yeah. The what is occurring is you've shown me pictures of fast food establishments that were so dreadful that this one is okay, this is good. Even though, I would have some issues with it.
In
I
the
do really
in the
appreciate
in the spectrum of fast food landscaping, is this Garden of Eden level, or are we still below Garden of Eden level?
for me, a Garden of Eden level would include many native plants, uh, which shows an intention and awareness of its location. I think with the fast food establishments, they're not going for uniqueness in that every location throughout North America will have distinct plants that define its ecology. And these plants are beautiful in their own way. Beautiful junipers, beautiful little, boxwoods or grasses or asparagus ferns, roses. But the thing for the company is that they're nice because they can even copy and paste the landscapes across many locations within a state because of their adaptability. But then you lose the thing that makes them stand out. Like with the Orlando location, I could say, okay, at least this makes me feel like it's a warm tropical vacation spot because of the particular palette of plants. And like a landscape designer, architect might use the word plant palette, which then reduces the living things to simply objects of like creation for art, or the way you make a space. It's I mean, at least has variation in color and form, and there's not a lot of empty space. On the very far right of the Burger King, they have some tall looking like conifer plants, these like tall dark green trees. Those are, nice because they add some height, some good texture. And then in the very front, there's smaller yellow and bluish green. There's not a lot of empty space. So the thing that also makes it hard is that it's next to a parking lot. So the only way you'd appreciate this truly is if you're me and you sit in the parking lot and look at every plant, or if you're driving by and you're just glancing out the window. So I think this is if I saw this at a Burger King, I'd be actually quite happy. And I'd be like, okay, good for them. They have dedicated more bed space on the far right. That's a bigger bed than most Burger Kings have for plants. And, oh, look at that. Yeah, strip mall parking
Well,
lot.
this is Panda Express adjacent.
Yeah. In Texas, there's particular plants that we say, hey, they're like endangered in the wild, but you'll find them in every Target parking lot. And there's one called Hesperaloe, and in its native landscape, it's pretty limited, but it's always in sections like this.
Why?
They're durable. They survive freezing and cold and heat.
I see.
Intense UV radiation, drought, and
So from any artistic angle, they don't necessarily reference the Panda Express.
in this one, no.
Okay.
The plants here look like there's daylilies right along the border. Nothing. I mean, actually, the plants could be from China, but Panda Express is not proper Chinese food.
No, Panda Express is from Pasadena.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to look at just one more image. Here we
Cool.
go. It's another Panda Express.
Wow.
And see that landscaping there along the bottom?
Hmm.
I don't know if you have to zoom in or not, but tell me about it.
Okay. Well, I'll say the things I like.
Okay.
I like that they had a very small bed, a very limited area to put plants, and they put something there and they didn't just fill it with rocks. I do also like that the particular hues of the plants, like there's a It looks like a deep red, unless it's dead. It's either dark red or it's dead. The dark red one matches the building nicely. Um, and then the particular forms of these plants evoke, they might be little junipers or something, but they evoke like a bonsai to me. And bonsai is not from Pasadena, it's not Chinese, but as a American living in suburbia, one might easily mix everything and say, well, it's close enough. I I mean, it's so much parking lot that it's almost like you might as well have just put rocks. But I do appreciate that they put some plants there.
Well, you need to have parking.
For drive-throughs, yes. For fast
Yeah.
food, yes.
Yeah, you need to park. Well, for DoorDash drivers too.
That's fair.
Matthew, this has been so educational, incredible knowledge that you've passed on to us. I've learned a lot. I hope everyone watching has too. In the description of this video are links to all of Matthew's work. I really hope you'll check it out. Fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for your time today, Matthew.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a fascinating experience and delightful.